is Jean-Georges Perrin. I often go by JG. So let's get started. Today we are going to look a little bit at the explain function, and that is working on the data frame, which explains how things are going to be processed. Okay, so let's get back to how it works a little bit. So when I'm looking at doing some transformation with my data, I just stack the transformation as I go, and then at some point what's going to happen is I'm going to call an action, and this action is going to trigger the real transformation. So if I've got my data set or my data frame, okay, data frame, and I have my first transformation, then I've got my second transformation, then I've got my third, okay, well, you get the gist, and then finally I'm calling an action. Okay, right? This is how Spark is working, and this is called a directed acyclic graph. And when Spark is actually going to process all this thing, what it's going to do is give this thing to Catalyst. And Catalyst is going to, okay, this is how I can actually optimize. Okay, so we've talked about that before. That's really how it works. Now, when I'm doing the same thing with the same process, I can ask Spark to explain what it's going to do. So let's get started. Okay, let's run an example and start with a few examples. So let's run it first. Time for a sip of tea. Okay, come on, baby. It's not a very complex example. Okay, so here you see that I did a few things, and this is how Spark is interpreting it at the end. Okay, so it says, oh, there's a file scan, a CSV, and you're going to read year, state, county, state, FIPS, etc. Okay. You can see that it's a CSV where the location is, and a few other things. Okay, like we talked about pushed filters, they appear here, and the schema. Okay, that's a schema that is inferred, etc. Okay, and I'm unioning the two data frames. So here that's how it's perceived by Spark. That's a physical plan as it's done by Spark 2. Let's look at the application a little bit. Okay. So first thing is, as usual, let's have a quick look at the import. See, I'm just having a small exp here. The rest is very classic. Main, I'm starting the instance. Start. First thing is get the session. After that, I'm loading my file. Oh, actually, I did not even infer the schema here. That's fine. And I'm going to, union to get a just slightly bigger data set, just for the fun of it. And then I'm renaming two columns, and then I'm doing a small average function. And you've got I'm also duplicating LCL2 and UCL2. Okay, so if I'm looking at what happens here, I should find in that all this various stuff there. You see here, for example, I see my average function. Okay, so you see how Spark is actually looking at it. So it's looking at L lower confidence limit as a double, casting it. Same thing with the upper confidence limit, and dividing it by 2 and considering this field as average, AVG. So let's look at other ways to monitor that, and that's what I've been, and actually, yeah, the explain is here, as you can see. Okay, Spark 3 has added a few features. So and and they've not been in the Spark in Action book. So I just let's add them here. Okay, so that's Spark v2. Okay, and we can add the Spark v3. Okay, so we can do the way to do it is using simple strings here. So I can do simple, and you'll see that it's going to be very similar. Okay, so let's run it. It's great time for tea usually. See, same thing. Okay, simple is exactly the same. So I can I can just do that. Simple. I can now copy this thing, and the other one we're going to do is extended. Okay, so extended, as you can imagine, is going to be a little bit more. Oops, sorry, that's not what I wanted to do. So oops, it's still Friday. Okay, extended. So the first one was only displaying the physical plan, and now this extended is going to print both the physical plan and the logical plan. Okay, you could do that. You could do that before with a boolean. You had the option in Spark 2 of using the boolean there. So okay, so here is it. Okay, so that's our Spark 2, and then you see the physical plan, and then you see the logical plan after that, and the analyzed logical plan. Okay, so what Spark is actually doing in more details, and as you can see, it's pretty verbose here. Okay, and when it looks, what is interesting is to compare both parsed and analyzed, where the analyzed and then finally the optimized one. So you can see really what's going on how Spark is going to process those details. Okay. Yep. So I've got so twice as simple. First this one, second is this one, and then the parsed logical plan, the analyzed logical plan, the optimized logical plan, and finally the physical logical plan as well. Okay, so let's explore the third option now. Okay, and the third option is Cogen. So it's explaining the Cogen part of the generated code when it's available. Okay, so we'll see what this one goes with this example. And keep in mind that I'm still keeping the basic Spark 2 here. Okay, let's run it. Okay, so here is the interesting part, that is the generated code. Okay, so and you see it as well. Okay, so here you see basic generated code that is going to perform my task when it's distributed, and so that's getting a little bit of a when you have to debug to this level, there's something nasty going on. Okay, so at least for a Spark user. Okay, so that's also an option, the Cogen option. Let's have a look at the next one. Spark 3 has been really generous with adding those there, and the next one is the cost. So it's going to print the logical plan and the statistics associated to the cost. Okay, oops, that's not exactly what I wanted to do. Okay, I'll have to. I got a new computer from work, and all my settings are not completely there yet, so that's why it shifted a bit like that. Okay, so let's go and look at the cost. here is the cost optimization. So you see the size there. I don't see if we've got the logical plan. Okay, so and what else do we see here? We should be seeing more statistics, but yeah, you see it. You see the statistics here. Okay. Oops, sorry. At the end of it here, you see the statistics. Okay. So that's one of the options, and I think my favorite one is formatted. So that's the last one, and I'm going to show you the formatted explain, which is details by node, and I like that. I like this one for some reason. Okay, see. Okay, so you've got the physical plan. That's coming from Spark, the same as Spark 2. Okay, well that's a Spark 2 one, and then you've got the physical part, the physical plan. See with references. Okay, so it's and then you see the formatted reference, so it details a lot more what it's going to do in which step, and I like that a lot. So first, it's going to scan the CSV. Okay. As you see, it's doing the output with each column. It's not batch, it's a location where it's coming and the schema. Okay, really nothing great, nothing fantastic here. And then you see the input and output from the project, and this is where you see what I'm doing, the transformation operation I'm doing. Okay, so here you see the rename operation. Here you see the other rename operation. Here is my calculation of my average, and duplicating as a column. Okay, so that's really, I think it's much neater. You see that even if I'm doing a union, what happens is it scans twice the CSV. Okay, and then same, of course, the step 1 is the same as step 3, and step 2 is the same as step 5, and then it performs a union. So I like that a lot. You know, it's very neat in the formatting compared to the old physical plan. You get really a good set, a good explanation of what's going on when you're actually doing that. So in a nutshell, Spark 3 introduces a little bit more of an explain on the data frame. They're available as SQL as well. Okay, so here I've been using the data frame API, but you can definitely see them as well on SQL. And you've got a simple, which is pretty much the same as Spark version 2 without any argument. Okay, you've got the extended, which is the same as Spark 2 with the boolean set to true. You've got the Cogen, which shows you the generated code. You've got the cost, which gives you the statistics, and you've got the formatted, my favorite option, which gives you a pretty neat description of what's going on in a nicer presentation. So, guys, that's it for today. A short episode on explanation on the data frame explain, on the Spark SQL explain, and I'll see you next week. And next week I will have a guest, and we'll discover a lot about what my friend Diraj is actually working on. So see you next Friday, and this is going to be a live session at 8 a.m. Eastern. Bye, guys.